A very good morning to all. I, Dr. Uttara Mohan, host for this session from the IP Digital Media team. We are live on IP India YouTube channel. The topic for today's webinar is impact of stress on hormones. The speaker is Dr. Shalintha Tyagi. This webinar is being organized by IP Women's Cell Raipur District. The moderators for today are Dr. Pooja Jain, Dr. Neha Agarwal, and Dr. Varsha Agarwal. I request all to subscribe to IIP YouTube channel to get regular notification during our live webinars. Now I request the Raipur team to please start.
Pooja ma'am, unmute.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Pooja Jain, Raipur District Coordinator for IAP Women's Cell. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
As we all know, has become a pandemic nowadays. But we know a little about how it is affecting all the major and minor aspects of our life, including the hormones in our body. So today, I would like to invite Dr. Shalintha Tyagi to expand our insights on the same. Dr. Shalintha is a women's health expert with a master's degree in Obs Gynae Physiotherapy and various certifications in childbirth education, lactation counseling, Pilate, hypnobirthing. She has an experience of 17 years in helping women of all ages, from teens to pregnancy and postnatal to perimenopausal. She is attached to Motherhood Hospital and has worked with all the women's centers in Gurgaon, be it Apollo Cradle, Max, W, Pratiksha, and Cloud9. Over to you, Dr. Shalintha.
Thank you very much, the team, Raipur to organize this and the support given by the IAP Women's Cell. And as we all know that we have actually come up with this webinar for, in continuation of the celebration of International Women's Week. I would be taking you to an insight where we will discuss about the hormones and majorly how they impact the female hormones. And as the theme goes by, we say that this year, the International Women's Day theme has come up as Invest in Women. So this is the best way of, we can invest in women by helping them to understand what, how the hormones are impacting and how we can, make some small changes that can help to benefit all of us. So I've not made this, presentation as more oriented only and limiting to doctors and physios. I have tried to make it in a simple word so that if any woman who is there out would like to understand about what changes and how it happens, so she understands it better. So here I would like to start and share my screen. So is the screen visible and is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So as you know, we have a constellation up there in the universe of stars. Similarly, stress is a constellation of events. That is like, they are these stressors, they're consisting of stress, stimulus that becomes the stressor, and that precipitates a reaction in the brain. So you get a stimulus from outside and your brain has a reaction to it. So how it perceives, now here we say that how the stress perception is being done. So now for any stress, it is not necessary that the way my brain is going to perceive. Similarly, your brain is going to perceive the same kind of stimulus that is there outside. But for all of us, it is going to activate certain physiological fight or flight systems in the body, which we call it as stress response. So that is how the stress has the entire working over here. So if you see here, there is a short-term stress that is like, has been defined as a stress that lasts for a period of minutes to hours. Maybe that, you are going through a situation where you are walking on the, road, or you suddenly see an accident happen and you get those goosebumps about what would have happened if you would have been that stage, or the empathy that comes out for the person who is involved into this, particular accident. So there could be a minutes, and for few hours, you come back home and then you discuss with your family members, to be very careful when you are driving or when you are crossing. So this impacts for a few minutes, from few minutes to hours, and it is a short-term acute stress. Now, the long-term chronic stress is something which is defined as that persist for several hours per day, for weeks or even months. So there could be a stress that, somebody is not well at home and he's very near and dear one for you, and is hospitalized. So you start with that stress of, being the hospitalization of the person, and then a series of tests going on, getting the, meeting the doctors every day. It kind of change your entire, day-to-day activities, and the stress part even increases when they say that the person needs certain kind of, maybe some surgery, and then further, he will be bedridden for a certain time, and then every second, third day you have to go, deal with it. Or it can be like somebody is going through a process of separation. So when you are filing for the divorce, then again, it is a something similar thing, you are stressed on a daily basis, and you find out the person to be, we have to do so many conversations with the lawyers and then other things. So this comes out as a long-term chronic stress, which is there for day, weeks, and even the trauma that can last even for months, right? So there are certain, responses that are happening at the immune level also. So like when we are getting, this slides give you an example about the vaccination that is being provided for a short term and also for a chronic or a long term, what the stress can have the, response. So a stress can has a benefit response also. It can have a protective response. Like, earlier in our primitive days, our ancestors, so they were not staying in a protective environment. So many a times they were exposed to, situations where there is threat from the animals, or there is a situation that they want to, run away. So that time, that short-term stress became a, a response that they can figure out to run away from that situation, protect themselves. Similarly, a vaccination can be, experienced like if you have, your mind is very much, accepting mode of it, can actually help you and can benefit the efficacy of vaccination or wound healing and also resistance. But if you are having in that short term stress also, if your self, antigen or the allergen induced immune activation happens when you are not very comfortable with the idea of vaccination or the treatment that you are going through, it can also have the harmful impact. Similarly, why I'm discussing this is because the treatment that we go through, all of us know that, whatever the plan, the treatment plan, it always is associated with some psychological acceptance from the patient side as well. So if it is not happening in that way, the entire pathology, that kind of increases, and it can lead to harmful effect. Similarly, in a chronic or a long-term stress, again, it induces an increase in dysregulated inflammatory, type 2 cytokine driven responses, wherein it can actually lead to again autoimmune diseases. But at the same time, If the chronic stress decreases the baseline, like if they take it easy, they try to, uh, uh, come out from the situation, take life a little more easy, do a bit of more into changes into the lifestyle and all, they find that yes, the harmful effects can also be decreased, right? The efficacy of and it can be better, and it can actually be beneficial to reduce the autoimmune diseases. So in our daily patient whatever, whenever we are seeing patients, we have seen such kind of patients where they come up with the autoimmune diseases, and after a certain period of time they find themselves completely out of an autoimmune disease. So this can actually happen with the way we respond, to the stress, how our body is responding. That is very important in this part of healing. So there are three stages that we say for any stress response. This was a little more chemical, but if we say in a very simpler terms, there is one alarming stage. So when we say that there is an alarming stage, that means when a body is responding to the stress. So the nervous system is actually getting activated, and it is going to trigger certain changes like physiological responses and maybe certain physical reactions also that our body knows, right? Okay, as soon as we see some snake or something, so our body knows that we have to run away from here, right? We have to escape. So those physical reactions are known to us and we react. Then there is a resistance stage. That is when, the body is now returning to normal. As soon as we find, oh, now we are safe, that we return to a normal state, to the stress reactions. We slowly calm down, our heart rate, blood pressure, everything strives to come normal. So these are the two responses. There is a third response to it. That is the exhaustion stage. When the body is actually, it keeps experiencing the first two stages. So, on and off, there would be a response that they will feel that I'm still in that, the stimulus is still present with me. And then, okay, for after some time, okay, when everybody is helping them to settle down and all the responses, they try to settle it down. This comes on and off. And this will lead to a stage of a chronic stress. That is how the chronic stress plays the major role into it. Now, understanding the natural stress response. So what happens as soon as we are into a, stressful event, that is actually the stimulus. So what happens, the stressful event is going to give, a stimulus to the amygdala, that is actually an area in the brain, and it is more related with our emotional processing. So as I earlier also said, for you it may be different how you are, you would be perceiving the stimulus. For me, it's going to be different. For every one of us, how we perceive a stimulus is different, right? So now this amygdala will actually give a distress signal to the hypothalamus. As soon as the hypothalamus gets a distress signal of, okay, there is some thing that I have to worry about, I have to think about it, I have to find out a way to come out of it, it activates the adrenal gland. Because the adrenal glands are the one which are going to secrete the hormone epinephrine. Or we say all the three hormones, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol. These are the big three stress hormones, and they all are being secreted from the adrenal glands. So here in the first stage, the adrenal gland is going to secrete the hormone epinephrine or the adrenaline. And this further is going to have certain physiological changes in our body. So how are these physiological changes going to look like? That is like there will be quickening of the pulse. You can feel, your hands are trembling. You feel the cold sweats. Also, your skin may look pale because the blood is now not going more on towards the skin, but it's going to the skeletal muscle part. Because to the skeletal muscle, we have to go into the fight and flight mode. So more there would be, the blood flow to the skeletal muscles, they would be actually in a stage of taking the step further how to come out of the situation. And they would be to the heart also. There would be more of the blood pumping over there. There will be an increase in the cardiac output. The blood pressure is going to, increase, and muscle tension, pupils are dilated. So these are the common physiological response that happens to the first stress stimulus that you will be getting. Now coming to the second one, then how that we says the resistance stage. In the resistance stage, what will happen? Okay, then the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis, HPA axis, that comes into the role, and it's going to kind of settle down the response. Okay, it's going to say, okay, the things are better, it's going away, okay, it's settled now. But if again there is a stimulus that will happen, they continue with that stress, then the hypothalamus is going to actually release corticotropin releasing hormone. Now what this hormone will do is this is going to go to pituitary. Till now the pituitary was not actually working more here, but now the pituitary will be then it triggers the release of adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, that we say, and this then will travel to adrenal glands to release cortisol. So this is how the second component of the stress response takes in. The cortisol gets released in the second response, the continuation of the stress response. The first level is always where the epinephrine and norepinephrine are taking place. So if you see these physiological stress response and transitioning from the adaptive to harmful effects of the stress, this, you can see this is a chart which says uh, how, it is going to impact you, right? So if it is minutes to hours, repeated, there will be, and they are still adaptive and they settle down. But it is not good if there is delayed shutdown. That means the resistance stage or the resistance phase is not working properly after the first response that we got. And if this is not working properly, then definitely because of this, there will be a chronic delayed shutdown. And this can happen on and off, and it is not good for the health. Third is chronic months to year. Now, if we are always in that stage where we feel that again there is a threat, that the stressful situation is continuing, so the cortisol levels are going to be always there in our body. And this stress hormone will actually is not good for us. So this is actually going to be there in our body and impact our cells. So what would be the long-term impact, how it's going to disturb our cells? So this actually leads to anxiety. First of all, the person is always going to be there in an anxiety stage. For everything, small thing, it will become anxious. The judgment power always will be on a negative side. Am I doing wrong? Am I will be accepted by the people? What else I can do to make the other person please? So these kind of anxiety levels are the first level that will come. And this will slowly also leads to depression. If this continues, they can land up into depression because of the higher levels of cortisol being exposed on a daily basis. Many digestive problems, headaches, muscle tension, pain, even the heart attacks and heart diseases, stroke, sleep problems, they are also associated. These are very commonly taken whenever we go to a general physician or we go to a specialist for cardiac issues. They are going to give you medicines for it, right? And they'll simply say, okay, eat a healthy diet, change your lifestyle, do some walking, don't take stress, and they're going to prescribe the medicine. That's it. But we have to actually work onto a deeper level, because now that we understand what's happening, stress can be of very minute, simple things as well. So these problems are all starting from the stress. We need to understand that a mild headache or the people who are continuously in a state of migraine, that also is coming from the stress. The sleep problems, majorly. Now, the weight gain. Most of us think that weight gain is because we are not eating properly, right? We are eating junk foods, we keep on eating, something from the out. But it is not like that. Again, there is a stimulus from the stress, and that too a chronic stress stimulus that actually puts you into the stage of weight gain. And not only that, there is again the problems with the memory and the focus that we have to. So the impact of the stress on the hormones. So these are the major, impact that are there to the biochemistry of, the endocrine system is actually very complex, but we try to understand in, as a simple way. It increases the cortisol level from 2 to 5 times. So it can go up to that increase. Now, if I just, even we have discussed about the catecholamines when they are released, then what happens, right? The epinephrine, when it is being released, there would be an increase in the cardiac output. The skeletal muscle blood flow increases. There would be a sodium retention, increase in the glucose because we need that more energy to have the fight and flight response. And then the intestinal motility decreases, right? Because our body feels that we don't want the energy levels into the internal organs or the reproductive organs. So even the intestinal parts, and also the motility and that part kinds of decreases. So here actually you can link up that the constipation again is one of the reason, why it happens is that it could be because of the stress, the impact of stress. I always discuss, with my patients saying that if, you have a jar, okay, and in that jar, you have to have, so the hormones can be some colorful pebbles, if, that you can give a uh, cortisol as a red color, and you say the gonadal hormones, the reproductive hormones are say pink color, or the catechol are, they are the blue, or the prolactin is blue. So if you make certain colors of the pebbles and you put it in there, so there can be always a limited number of pebbles that can fit in the jar, right? So if say you want to put more of the red color pebble, that is a cortisol pebble, because it's increasing with the stress. Is there any space more left over there? No. So there will be an impact on either of the other hormones. Okay, so there will be a decrease. So there will be a suppression of the gonadal steroid hormone. Depending upon, here now we say that there can be some genetic involvement, there can be some past experiences that can come into, play. There is a prolactin is one which keeps on fluctuating a bit, but the TSH secretion is again going to decrease. So there will be an impact on the thyroid, right? So more of the cortisol, gonadal hormones are decreased, thyroid stimulating hormone is decreased, the insulin decreases. Now, when the insulin is decreased in our body, that means the absorption of the free flowing sugar that was to be done is now will not happen. There would be more of the free flowing sugar levels in our body, and that would lead to diabetes. So these are all changes taking place. So there is a balance that is needed to strike. Even we need cortisol, right? We need those good hormones, because many a times the stress is going to help us, right? If we don't have a stress, say for example, to an athlete, if he is having a stress, then only he will, make an extra effort to run fast to reach the goal. right? Similarly, in other forms, some people really, perform very well when they are under certain pressure. But this particular stress is not good, if I have to be very calm just because of the, excitement of, maybe of a meeting or to discuss something, some people, we may be, uh, because of the impact of the stress, we may actually be overexcited, and that is not good. We want it to be staying calm at that point of time. So this is again the balancing. But overall, the hormones are need to be in a certain balance. All of them have their own importance and they need to be in the balance. So because of the increase of the cortisol, the rest of the all hormones are being, disturbed. And majorly in females, we are, finding PCOD, PCOS, and thyroid being the major, complications that has come up. So it is very important that they understand, how an ovary function first. If we talk about PCOD and PCOS, so an ovary is actually, it's a monthly process. We all know about the reproductive cycles, the menstruation. So it is a process wherein, there would be the eggs which are being released from the ovary, right? A good growth, a healthy egg is being released, fully grown. That is the work of a normal ovary. But say if it is a polycystic ovary. So polycystic ovary disease is a little different with PCOS, will come in the next slide. But here, in what happens in the polycystic ovary disease is now that the egg that has to come up, now it is coming up as a immature, and you can see the size of the eggs, they are also bigger size. The size of the egg also increases, they are immature. And with the increase of the size, there is a possibility that there is more of the water that's get collected inside it. And we call it as cyst. So PCOD is the one where partially mature or immature eggs in large number, they are coming. It can be because of the lifestyle, the obesity, and to remember that yes, stress and hormonal imbalance. And it is said that 10% of the women are being affected by this. But the PCOS is even more complicated. It gets complicated by that it is also, it can actually lead to infertility if not taken care of, because the eggs are not released. There is no release of the eggs. They stop releasing. So they shall not come to know, though the cycles are irregular, but she'll not come to know whether eggs are being released or not. So one is factor is infertility. And then the other factor which are being related to this is the heart attacks, right? And the obesity and the diabetes. These are the complications that they are again linked up. Many metabolic disorders are linked up. Also, in some cases, thyroid is also being seen that it is on a increased size. So 0.2 to 0.2.5% of the world women, they are being affected by this. So the major symptoms which we should always suggest to look for, right? Many a times, it happened with me also. All of a sudden, for no reason, I wanted to go for a health check. And when there was a scan being done, and in the ultrasound scan, they said, your ovaries are, polycystic. I was like, what? How it can happen, right? When you are uh, almost, the periods are normal, you are not facing any other issues, but it happens with certain hormonal disturbances. There would be some changes. Maybe they were the initial stages changes that were happening inside my body, and then if you start, improving your lifestyle, you change your diet, you are exercising, you're taking less stress, the balance can return back. So there would be few things that can be checked, like, is there a hair loss? Also, when the cysts are formed, they start producing more of the androgens, right? See, the androgens are the male sex hormones, right? So these hormones, when they increase, they actually kind of, show on the face the facial hair that is called as hirsutus. Then pelvic pain is one of the common complaints that they can come up with. Maybe, uh, with the irregular periods, they're saying they have some pelvic pain or there is a weight issue. Fatigue is there. Many of them come up with acne also. So it's not necessary that all of these would be found in one single person. But these could be few alarming signals, like if any of these is being observed on a regular basis. Once in a while, the periods got delayed for 5, 6 days, 10 days, and then again the cycle is normal. It's, you can actually understand that, okay, there was some stress. I have to, take some steps and make things better and things will be okay. But if it is on a regular basis, then it is an alarming sign that you must go and visit and see the doctor, check yourself, get a detailed assessment done. And especially with the PCOS case, it happens that it goes, the treatment part, the assessment, the diagnosis, this gets delayed, maybe that uh, uh, the mindset of the family members are saying that, okay, it's very normal to happen, it's fine, there is some pain while menstruating, or there is an up and down of the cycles, it's okay. But we really need to address the root cause of it. If it is happening on and off again, we have to work onto changing our lifestyle. We will be discussing in detail how we can do it in coming slides, but this is an alarming sign. Same, now if you see this slide, it says that how the thyroid hormones are working. So from the hypothalamus, the releasing thyrotropin releasing hormone is being secreted to pituitary, which will actually in turn stimulate the thyroid stimulating hormone, and it's going to say the thyroid gland to produce the hormones. So T3, T4, and calcitonin are the three hormones which are being secreted from the thyroid gland. Now, if the balance is fine, the thyroid gland is going to give them a negative feedback inhibition that we don't need anymore, and they kind of work accordingly. But see now, we were talking about the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, right? So now see this pituitary, which has to do a little bit of stimulation to TSH, is working more on the stimulation for the adrenocorticotropic hormone. So what will happen? There will be an inhibition of the TSH. So now that TSH is being not secreted, there's further hormones, thyroid hormones will go down. So there will be a hypothyroidism, right? So this is an underactive thyroid. It's not working the way it has to work. It can lead to hair loss, it can lead to fatigue, right? Dry skin, weight gain is there, menstrual changes are there, one of the part. There could be a sensitivity to cold and the heartbeat slows down, right? So now these changes, again, I have personally met women with hypothyroidism, but they don't have weight. They haven't put on weight, sorry. So the weight is on a decreasing part, but still the other things are very much noticeable, that they are, the fatigue is there, the hair loss, the sensitivity to cold, everything is, even the dry skin part is there. So it's very difficult to, have all the symptoms in one part, but we have reached to these symptoms, when the tests are being done, the survey is being done in the larger population. So similarly, the hypothyroidism, when that happens, that means the metabolism becomes even more faster, because the major work of the thyroid glands is to maintain the metabolism in the body. This will actually lead to anxiety, difficulty in sleeping. Here, the sensitivity of heat will be there. Weight loss is there. The appetite increases, but still the weight loss is there. Okay. And then the increased sweating is there. So you may find some symptoms here and there, but to rule out even more in detail, there are certain blood tests that can be done, and we can take necessary steps to come out of these problems. So, majorly, the stress is causing endocrine disorders. So, what is that? Is what we were saying, the impact of stress on the hormones. It is actually disturbing the entire reproductive system. The gonadal dysfunction is happening. More of, the testosterone is being required into certain amount to have you know, uh, the build the muscle mass, to have the sleep patterns improved and all those things. But because of the less testosterone, again, they are having these problems. Similarly, with the estrogen and progesterone hormones, which are balancing to the cycles and keeping up our good mood, that is again being disturbed. Obesity is one of the factors that takes place due to these disorders. Blood sugar levels, diabetes mellitus, that is being found because of the stress, and as we have just seen, that hypothyroidism. So it will not justify for the, it will not be right for today's presentation if we just don't go on to how to come out of this as well, and to understand a little more deeply, right, why it happens. We know that there are certain harm changes they are taking place, but what how you react to the life stressors is why do you do so? What are the, you when you are reacting, what is, as I said, you will be reacting in a different way, I would be reacting in a different way. What is the reason? Why do we react in a different way? There are two of them. One is the genetics, right? That there is certain, as I said, our primates, they had that fight flight response to save themselves, protect themselves from the environment that they were living in. And those genes are being there, there would be some modifications, some changes, and they become more active or less active as per the response. And different, these changes happen. The next is the life experiences, the most important. The strong stress reactions, they become traumatic at times to one person. And there are like people who had abused, who were neglected as children. They even find, the risk to be even more. So, for example, like, people who have survived airplane crash, or people who were in military, if you happen to discuss with them their experience, they would be always, in a stage of, that alertness, or maybe that this can happen again to them. So these experiences make them the way they behave to the, stresses. And what exactly triggers the stress response? It is, in today's world, we most of us, are not having any, we don't need any protection from the wildlife, especially. But what is the stress that we people have? It is the work deadlines. We all have to work and finish, we have to finish our work at a certain time. There is conflict in the relationships. So the world has become so competitive that we are not able to have healthy relationships with our colleagues as well, right? Because we have to compete with them, we have to feel better from them, Then there are financial challenges. There's so many things available outside, and we all want that we should have everything, be it car, house, home, the best of the clothes, or the best of the education for our kids. So these financial challenges is there. Moving, like, if you're not at one place, you have to keep on shifting the places. Also, being unhappy with the job or feeling insecure at the job is one of the reasons that triggers stress. Any illness, mental health problems, they will in turn, they started from the stress, but they will keep on triggering your stress response. And as I said, caring for the family members, we always want, especially as women, We want that we should be doing all the work, right? We should be uh, uh, cooking them as the best of the food. We should be helping the, the family in the financial things also, managing the house also. We should look beautiful also. So those things, everything is there, and the challenge of taking care of the family, if we have not done it, at the end of the day, we feel, okay, I couldn't satisfy my child today. I couldn't spend time with my baby. He's hardly 1 year old and I was out for the work. So these small things are the triggers, right? And then daily life challenges are there. Worrying about the world events can be there. If you are one person who is actually, environmentalist and would think about, okay, how I can benefit the world, this is again one of the things. Struggling with the changes that are happening. Also, it is being noticed that early childhood stress experiences have also made many, further, the next slide will let you know that it leads to. So it has been found that 11% have children have experienced emotional abuse. 28% they have experienced physical abuse, 21% sexual abuse, 15% the emotional neglect, 10% physical neglect, and 13% witness their mothers being treated violently. Even that impacts a lot. 27% grew up with someone in the household using alcohol or any drug abuse, and 19% grew up with mentally ill person in the household. 20% lost parent due to separation or divorce. They were into that environment. And 5% grew up with household member in jail or a prison. So these childhood traumas, if they had, they are more likely to experience alcohol abuse, COPD. You must not have thought about, if any kind of childhood trauma can actually lead to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. But yes, it can trigger to it. It can trigger to the ischemic heart disease, liver diseases. They can go into smoking. They can go into depression. They can try out suicidal attempts. Poor health related quality of life can be there. Obesity, drug usage, risk of intimate partner violence, because somewhere in their mind, if they feel, right, that this is something which is normal, they can actually take it as a, you know, as a normal thing for the partner violence, multiple sexual partners, STDs, unintended pregnancies, and even the fetal death. They all are somewhere from the traumas of the childhood. And to find out, they can, whether the stress reactions, we can do a self assessment as well. Like there are 5 majorly self assessment part that can be done: behavioral, psychological or emotional, physical, cognitive, and social. So, is there any change in activity levels or any decreased efficiency or effectiveness, difficulty in communicating, increased sense of humor or gallows of humor, or irritability, outburst of anger, inability to rest or relax? Is there any change in eating habits, sleep patterns, or job performance? There are periods of crying, episodes of keeping on crying, increased use of alcohol, drugs, or tobacco, sugar, caffeine, if this is also increased, or avoidance of, places or activities that you wanted to go because you will feel that that triggers my memory. So these behavioral changes can be noticed. You can do a self-assessment. Is this there something with me? Or feeling heroic, euphoric, invulnerable, denial mode, being in anxiety or fear, worrying about the safety of self or others, or the irritability or anger, restlessness, sadness, moodiness, vivid dreams, guilt, feeling overwhelmed, feeling isolated, apathy, right? I don't feel anything about anyone. That comes as apathy, over identification with survivors, or feeling misunderstood. Do ask them to check about any of the things. Physical check. Is there any increased heart rate and respirations most of the time? Increased blood pressure, upset stomach, nausea, diarrhea, increase or decrease appetite, sweating or chills, tremors, muffled hearing, they keep on something that, I'm able to hear something. Somebody is telling something about me. Tunnel vision, feeling uncoordinated, headaches, sore, aching pain, muscles, light sensitive vision, lower back pain, feeling a lump in the throat. They feel something is there in my throat. I can't talk, I can't swallow. Easily startled, fatigue that does not improve with sleep, menstrual cycle changes, flare up of allergies, asthma, arthritis, hair loss. Then there will be cognitive changes, memory problems, disorientation, confusion, slowness in thinking, difficulty calculating, setting up priorities, difficulty concentrating, limited attention span, loss of objectivity, and inability to stop thinking. The most important, the social part, withdrawing or isolating from the people. Is there any difficulty listening, sharing ideas, or engaging in mutual problem solving? Blaming and criticizing others, intolerance with the group process, difficulty in giving or accepting support or help, and impatient with or disrespectful to others. So these could be some changes that we can, be there because of the chronic stress, and we can, try to figure out in a self-assessment. We can give some time to ourselves and think about it. To decrease the stress management, the most important tips will be eating a healthy diet and regularly exercising. We all know that these hormones are going to help us. The good hormones, the feel-good hormones, will help us to give plenty of sleep also. So do relaxation exercises, yoga, deep breathing, keep a journal. The gratitude journal these days has become so popular, writing down that what you have and you are being thankful for. Even that is being said for the manifestation part also. But I really feel that, this will actually keep everyone positive about that says, I have something to be thanking about, taking time for hobbies, making more friends, having a sense of humor, finding out, ways to add laughter in your life, volunteering in your community, organizing and focus what you need at home and work. And if needed, please do not hesitate to get for a professional counseling. A counselor will have different ways of, having with the, coping mechanism and managing your stress levels. So if we say staying on the good side of the stress spectrum, so if we are, as I said, there is a good stress, there is a bad stress. We need stress, right, to going on to come up our work, but this should not be completely a chronic one. So there should be a resting zone also. And yes, the lifestyle factors, psychosocial buffers, and activities are going to help us to optimize the good stress and minimize the bad stress. And this overall is going to help us in protective the immunity, increasing the mental and physical performance, and increasing the health and well-being. So when you feel that any of the problems is coming up, cropping up, whether it is, the constant muscle pain, or whether it is you feel that the periods are irregular, or some doctor has diagnosed you with PCOD or hypothyroidism. So first of all, we know that these can be, reversed, and you should not feel that your body is betraying you. It is actually calling you for help. We have to understand that this is the way that body can tell us that it is high time that we should start focusing on ourselves. So instead of thinking as a victim, that I am a victim, why does this happen to me always? So you should be from a victim, you should be in a in control mindset, right? I deserve to feel good. I take steps to feel better. I can thrive and live my best life. I work with my body. I eat in a way that shows I love my body. I move in a way that I enjoy and make me strong. I seek out knowledge about my condition, how to heal. I ask for support, most important. And I treat my body with love and respect. So, waiting for someone else to come and compliment you, let's not do that. It should be that I should start complimenting and respecting myself first, right? And then only I would be in a better state. From a lack of mindset to an abundance of mindset. So, a lack thinking will be always saying you that I will never be enough. But what does the abundance mindset says? Abundance thinking says that I am enough. So thinking that I am judgmental, let's change it to I appreciate. I look at what is going wrong, change it to I look what is going right. From I am rigid and closed off in new ideas, I am open for new ideas. I am fear based, I focus on and notice blessing in my life. From I compare myself to others, say I am authentic. I am jealous and envious to others, say I celebrate others' success. And from saying I am perfectionist, say that I focus on progress. I am a victim of any particular disease. So I have just put in a dash over there. Any particular disease that you are suffering from, start saying that I am in control of my health. So this is the way that we need to change our mindset, right? So this particular webinar, because being planned on the women's day celebration and the week, is that we need to actually think about more positively, helping each other, being in the society, and especially appreciating each and every one of us is going to keep us all together. And once again, thank you to the team that we are here and talking about this discussion that how we women can improve and help each other during the end of this International Women's Day Celebrations Week. If there are any questions from the team, I can answer them.
What a wonderful lecture it was. Thank you, ma'am, so much. I'm Dr. Varsha Agrawal, Raipur District Sub-Coordinator, and I would like to open the rounds of question answer rounds. There are few questions in my mind as well. So, ma'am, I would just like pregnancy is like full game of hormones, and there are so many changes, like all the 9 months there are so many changes. So how could we manage stress during pregnancy?
So, Varsha, it is not only pregnancy, we women are actually, you can see the encyclopedia of hormones.
Yeah.
So as soon as we start with our puberty, then we reach the stage where we would be, the changes that there are so many changes that are happening in our life that we have to marry and all of a sudden move to a new place, adjust into that, and then getting pregnant, or if it is something to do with other challenges. So we are actually having so many hormone changes, fluctuations happening in our body. During pregnancy, I take as a two category, like one would be there when a person was actually planning for pregnancy, right? So they will have a little bit more of the stress that would be there, or they have the chances when they had previous miscarriages, or they had certain, as I said, the experience, the life experience matters a lot. So when we have to actually manage the stress, we have to actually think about the life experience, how we can make the benefit out of the life experiences. So as you have talked, you are asking especially for the pregnancy part, we have to kind of do a bit of counseling and ask them, like for everyday basis. I'll just give you my example. Whenever I have a mother and she comes with a complaint of breech baby or high sugar levels, or other any complication, so there is a discussion. Okay, as a physio, we have to give them exercise and say, okay, go and do these exercises. But we all know that only the exercises are not going to work. So I try to ask them and take them into their, any kind of previous experiences, anything, the future outcomings that they are worried about. So helping them to balance, right? To let go the past is one of the thing. So we can help them to start, bit of chanting. And as I said, making journals of, gratitude is one thing. So you can say, that start writing, the thankful things that you have. If they say that I have a breech baby, you can always say that at least you don't have diabetes, you don't have high blood pressure, you didn't have any miscarriages. So say, some write down about the things you would be thankful for. That is one way. And then the next part is about the future. Say most of them, they worry about what will happen next. So there, especially about the labor, they are much worried about how the labor would be, or how the later the life would be. It won't be as same. I won't be that free as I was earlier. I will have to spend more time with the baby and other things. So there you can actually help them out to plan certain things. Right. So if it is immediately after the birth, they can say that whatever requirement related to the food requirement to help, you want to call upon your family members and all, do it all in advance so that you are not worried. In fact, I also promote them to do the baby shopping also. So if your things are ready, you know that it will be going to benefit. So the other things like you can add in as a progressive relaxation techniques, visualization techniques, meditation, these things can be added up and helping them to balance out the previous, the past, and the future worries that they have. Today in present, hardly there are any worries that we all have. It is more of that the past is being disturbing us or what will happen tomorrow is disturbing us.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, other question is what are the management for the sleep problems? Like if anyone is having insomnia, then what can we do for them?
See, uh, I don't know about, you all, but I have personally seen people around me, and especially from the time the Instagram has taken over all of us, there is a competition of not only the doctors, the health coaches or yoga therapists, but even I have seen a competition from the recent delivered mothers also. They will also come up with their experiences. They will also start posting reels and everything. And once you start scrolling, our fingers will keep on doing that for hours, right? So the best thing is that keeping the Instagram and all these screen and all everything for at least 1.5 hour to 2 hours, you actually switch off. In fact, if we go into even deeper level, we know that Wi-Fi has a very disturbing the field of Wi-Fi, the magnetic waves that are coming in, that they also disturb the sleep patterns. And if you follow certain Vastu rules that we have in our Indian culture, we say that we should be sleeping head towards the south or the east, right? Because the magnetic field that develops when your head is on the north is more disturbing. So we say that you should be going on to the south side. So the magnetic fields are actually disturbing a lot of our sleep cycle. So limiting the screen time at least 2 hours before, and then if it is still, in the eating patterns also, many a times what you are eating also keeps up, you up. And for the process of what you are thinking, if something is bothering you, it is better to actually, not discuss it before the sleeping time. Many a times it happens, we are talking on phone or there is a bedtime discussions towards those problems, and then it keeps on, taking your mind onto it. So these small changes will definitely help for the sleep thing.
Yeah, ma'am. Very nice answers, and it will definitely help the patients and even in normal life us also. Thank you so much, ma'am. Any more questions, please? I think so. We are all clear, ma'am. So I would invite Dr. Neha for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Varsha. Uh, a very happy Women's Day to everyone. On behalf of IPWC Women's Cell, Raipur District, I, Dr. Neha Agrawal, Sub-Coordinator, would like to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries out there. I thank Dr. Shalintha ma'am for such an informative session, ma'am. Thank you so much. I am sure everyone get knowledge on such an interesting topic. It was such an interactive session for all our joinees. And I would like to thank Dr. Sanjeev Chasar, IP President, National President of India, Dr. Ruchi Vaishnav ma'am, IP National Head of IPWC. And I would like to thank Dr. Sakina Kachwa ma'am, IPWC Zonal Head, and our State Head, Dr. Garima Tiwari, for mentoring us in the best possible way. She can give us guidance and all. And I would like to thank all our coordinators, sub-coordinators who all supported in making this webinar in the best possible way. And last but not least, I would like to thank our digital team. They have cooperated us in a best possible way. And I would like to give my gratitude to all our joinees and all our participants who attended this webinar and get so much information from ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I would like to add for the digital team here and for you all, every one of you, that it was just at a short notice that, you have made this possible. And I hope that we have such good webinars in the coming week. Especially, let's plan something very good onto the Mother's Day so that, it could be more, the reach should be more. Maybe that we couldn't have the actual women to be here. We can actually market it well, or we can, do a bit of our the reach that was not possible because of the short time that we decided. But it's good that we have this. It will be always there present onto our channel so that people who want to go through it can actually figure out about the changes and all. Thank you so much, Neha, Varsha, Pooja, and thank you, IAP India and the digital team and all others who are involved into this. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.